Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Gurudev, Gurudev Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri 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 Guruji Namaha. Shri 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 Mujiji Namaha. Great grace is always falling like rain. Grace is always falling. Guru Vishnu, Gurudevo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Grace is always falling like rain. Grace is always falling. Shri 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 Guruji Namaha. Shri Holiness is falling in love with your own self. This is true devotion. This is love. God is this love. When this love has no intent and goes nowhere but to itself, it will reveal itself to you in whatever form you desire. Manifest or unmanifest. God is this love. God is this love. God is this love. This love is God. This love is great. This love is great. When you are called by this love, rest inside your heart. For this love is pure and true. It is you. Just God is this love. God is this love. God is this love. This love is God. This love is you. This love is true. This love is great. This love is great. This love is God. This love is God. Your heart is the light of this world. It needs to just fully be seen. Bathe in the river of your being. You need not to be anything. Peace and love is your fragrance, but the flower no one can find. heart is the light of this world. It needs to just fully be seen. Om Hari 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 Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om Hari Om Hari Hari. Your heart is the light of this world. It needs to just fully be seen. Bathe in the river of your being. You need not to be anything. Peace and love is your fragrance, but the flower no one can find. Your heart is the light of this world. It needs to just fully be seen. Oh, Hari 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 Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om Hari Om Hari Hari. Hare 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 Om Hare Om Hare 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 Om Hare Om Hare Hare. Your heart is the light of this world. It needs to just fully be seen. Ananta, beloved Father Guruji, Ananta, beloved Father Guruji, I bow at your lotus feet, I die at your lotus feet, my heart belongs to you. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Ananta, beloved Father Guruji, Ananta, beloved Father Guruji, I bow at your lotus feet, I die at your lotus feet, my heart belongs to you. Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, my dear. Namaste, everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadhguru Sri Mujiji ki Jai. Wonder if the sound is fine. Okay, built-in microphone. It should be good now. So before Satsang started, I was just sharing with everyone a story. On this road, I don't know whether some of you have also seen, maybe not. There's this family, or this actually gang pretending to be a family, where they walk up to people and say, "Oh, we are from this city called Nasik in India, and we came here by bus or by train, and on the way, all our money got stolen. So, can you give us some money?" So about 12 years ago, I gave them some money, and I realized that a couple of weeks later, someone else also came and said, we are from Nasik, and we came here, and with family, with small children and everything, they've got it all worked out very well. Yeah. So we are from Nasik, and on the way, our money got stolen, so we need money to go back. And once we go back, the best part is, once we go back, we will send your money back if you give us your address and things like this. So I realized that it's impossible to have those odds in 2 weeks. Somebody else, another family from Nasik, loses their money. So, but they're still there. My son met them maybe last week as well. So this, just like this, every day the mind is there, saying, "I'm from Nasik." I was saying that actually it's saying you are from Nasik and you are on your way. You are a person and you need to find freedom. So in the beginning, this is what we are validating, isn't it? Or invalidating rather. Seeing that there is no person here. Of course, there is the appearance of a body here. There is the appearance of a world here. You're not in denial for any appearance. But what am I in this? Am I just a body? Am I just these thoughts? Am I just these emotions? Am I just a combination of all these things? Or is there something more, something greater that I can discover about myself? That is what we are finding here. So what is going to be the end game for this body actually? The body, whether be buried under the ground or burnt on a fire, you see, most likely these two options. And if the discovery was that I am this body, then I would not say come to satsang every day. You see? Not sure, but maybe not. What is here for the body? And what is it that we can give to the body anyway? You see? There is a limit to all the sensations, limit to the amount of pleasure we can experience in this body also, to all our senses. We talked about this earlier. Get anything. Suppose you say, I love tiramisu. Gulab jamun. How many can you eat? Yeah, I can eat all day. Try, one day try. After 10, 15, 20, somebody says, no, no, give me something savory. Because we need that contrast in taste. Of all our senses, there are these limitations to pleasure anyway. The best music, Beethoven, no, all day. Huh? Something. Fuck. It doesn't happen after 1 or 2 days. It's so just let it be quiet for a while. I'm done. So the body needs actually not so much. Then just sitting here. Sometimes the poor thing is in some pain and it cries for attention, which is okay. It's entitled to. So already intuitively, I feel most of us know, most of humanity also knows there is not just about this body. And I feel that living in the presumption of I, which is the owner of this body. Like many say, I sleep and I die. I rest in peace. It means what? And it's so popular, you see, these things. It means what? There's already a sense that even after the death of the body, there will be something that remains to rest. So something, not even, not necessarily even in cultures like India where reincarnation is the popular belief, but even in Western cultures, we say things like rest in peace. Means what? The body is gone, and now just the body. Who is that to rest in peace? So already there is a knowing somewhere that there is something more to this I than this body. It's just that we find some fancy label, usually like a soul or something, consciousness also can be a label, and say, yes, I know I'm consciousness. Just labeling it is very different from the true recognition of it. And this I've been sharing for some time, that we must not make this mistake of confusing the knowing of a label, awareness or consciousness, to be the real recognition of the real knowing of what we are. You see? Because the labels can only help us in debates or in conversations. You see? Can we come to the true knowing of this? You're being able to follow? You want translation? It's okay. You see? So basically, what is it that I am prior to this body, beyond this body? You see? So what can we say? I am the body mind. You see? The body mind. So body mind means what? Body and mind. Mind means what? A collection of these thoughts, a bundle of thoughts, as Bhagwan said. You see? So I say bundle of thoughts and similar energies like imagination, memory, all of this. You see? So body and mind make up what I am, according to another very popular belief. I am the body mind. You see? But we find that this body will end up finished. This mind is coming and going, thoughts are coming and going. But there is something here which is present even when in a dream state there is a different body, or even when there is no thought. In the absence of thoughts, I don't disappear. You see? Therefore, there must be something which is beyond body and mind that I am. You see? If all that is coming and going comes and goes, there is one constant. It doesn't come and go. What is that one? And this must become our experiential recognition, not just conceptual. If it's going to be just conceptual, then just throw it away because it is more burdensome than anything else. So how many of us in satsang have had this experiential recognition of what we are, which is prior to this body-mind? How many have had experientially? Don't lie. To be in denial of your recognition is not modesty. Is choppy today? No, it's okay. It's okay now. Okay. You see? So, if we are coming to this recognition, then you could say, but I've had this recognition, then what is the trouble? It should be game over, finished. Why do I need to come to satsang anymore? You see? If many of us can say that I've had this recognition, then what is it about? If satsang was just about the recognition, then the instant you have a recognition, it should be finished. Why do I say keep coming? You see? There must be something else. Because what is found is that in spite of the recognition, old habits die hard, you see. In spite of the recognition that the sun comes from the east, because for a very, very long time we have believed that the sun comes from the west, that still remains our default setting, you see. So we take that as a momentary recognition and go back to our belief that I must be this body mind who had this recognition of awareness. You see? And worse could be that I'm a very special body mind who's had a recognition of the self. You see? So it's not about that. It is also the clearing up of this false conditioning, clearing up of this false belief. And you'll see that the voice of the mind is the supporter of the false belief. So even when you have a direct recognition of the sun rising from the east, it will come and say, oh, maybe it was just for today. Yeah. Or it will come and say, oh, you better hold on to this experience, you see. You better hold on to this. Don't leave it. And the sun is going. You are saying, hold on. Trying to hold on to spiritual experiences is just like that. You had a very deep recognition of the truth. But trying to hang on to it is like trying to hang on to the sun. You see? So that is not freedom. To constantly stare at the sun is not freedom. It can be helpful for a while to recognize again and again. But if it was just about coming to a certain state where all that happened was awareness of awareness, then this entire play of beingness would not come about, you see. So then what must it be? It must be that life becomes a lot more spontaneous. It must be that we are not dancing to the tunes of this mind. We are allowing it to come and go, but we are not catering to what it is saying anymore. How do we cater? Only through the power of our belief. So it must be that it becomes just so natural, spontaneous, not planning, not strategizing. Not that these are bad things. Even these things can seem to appear, but basically without attachment to outcomes, without attachment to how things must turn out. Because it is these shoulds, should nots, I could have, he should have. You see, these could nots, should nots, which cause all the trouble. So as we are allowing all of this to just come and go, then you find that it just feels like, if you were to ask me, so what changes then? What's the point? You see? It just feels like somebody took the regulator and put the brightness on high. You see? So that seems like it becomes a lot more vibrant right now, what is being experienced now. You see? Because attention is not divided usually between the mind and what is happening. If something is happening, then that is what is. You see, if something is being experienced in the moment now, then that is what it is. So it just seems like the vividity, the brightness of this experience becomes brighter. And if I were to say one more thing, it just seems like there is more time. You see? There is just more time, in the sense things are not rushed. It just seems like there's enough time. In this moment, there's so much time. You see, I'm looking at you. You see, there's so much time. There's no rush. We experience each other fully in this way, without the distractions and the trouble from the mind. You see, so, and it's allowed to flow spontaneously. There's no concern about, okay, what is coming out of this mouth? Is it making sense? What is going on? You see, just the flow is happening, and something here is hearing these words, just like something there is hearing these words. You see, but here there is very little fear of what the words are, how is it being conveyed, what you are thinking about these words. You see, all these fears have now died down to a great extent. You see, all of this comes from just allowing everything to just be as it is, allowing the mind to also come and go, and without our belief in what it is saying. So this Nasik con man in our heads, someone was saying that I know it's a con man, but still I can't help myself. I have to give him some money. You see, so this is the tendency which we are trying to uproot, because it's habit. You see, it's habit. So this is what we are looking at. I'm very happy that many of you, most of you in fact, are coming to a very deep recognition of who you are. You see? Now some more cleanup job. Yes. Cleanup job means what? Just these buttons that keep getting pushed and we keep getting believing them. You see, so you're finding them also lighter and lighter, isn't it? As you're coming into satsang, you're finding that the pool of conditioning, the karmic kosha, or whatever you might want to call it, doesn't have the same energetic pull that it used to have. So in this way, we are getting free from this push and pull of influences, mental influences, tendencies, conditioning. So that's it, simple like that. Take.
How is it for you from, you were saying the vividity and,
Yeah.
you feel that, but also sometimes when you're operating from there, it is like a flow state.
Yeah.
It's just one thing flowing. But also when you talk about belief in the thought, somehow it seems to sometimes be embedded in a role, and a role that you probably believe in, which goes in a cycle.
Yes.
And then the thoughts kind of keep circling, but the more deeper thing is the belief in the role. And
Yeah.
those are the times where it kind of, you're not in the flow state,
Yeah.
and you're like
Yeah.
going through there. So do those also kind of drop away, or it's natural to be in that?
You see that?
And I see that happens more, like at home and other places when it is light and you're used to it. It doesn't happen that much, or sometimes it does happen. It's not an issue when things are, when you have an exception or something happens, then you automatically drop back. But it happens more now that the work thing,
Yeah.
when you are dealing more with the identity,
Yeah.
you get locked into that.
Yes.
Especially with others, and then
Yeah.
that kind of keeps going, and you tend to get locked into
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Yes.
Is that, am I saying it correctly?
Yes, I understand what you mean. And this could be a good time to share one of the examples which I often use, but this is a good time to use that because the Olympics are on right now. So if I came and said that you're a terrible Olympic or you're a terrible gymnast, does it affect you? No, doesn't affect you. If I say you're a terrible program manager or whatever your role is, you see, that will have some pinch, you see. So the same way, it is what we have nourished in the past about us, what we have nourished with our belief, that has the most juice, you see. So what to do about that? First is very good that we spot it. It is this identity like this, and just see that it is for these kind of buttons that more attention is going, more belief is going, and can I come to a state of rest and allow this also to come and go, you see. And you find that as you're withdrawing your belief from these, then even these identities get thinner and thinner, you see. Now the mind will come with a fear saying that, oh, but if this identity becomes thinner, will I lose some productivity at work? Huh? That's not there. So we don't have to worry about that. But it is not necessary that the going of that fear comes with the loss of productivity or something.
When you look at that deeper, it comes down to shame.
Yes.
Are you able to deal with shame or not? And how bad of a shame can you deal with? And if you're not worried about that also, then
so you're right that it is when we are locked into particular identities, thoughts about that, and the mind knows what it's doing in some way because it will throw you mostly these things. You see, random ones will be very rare. It is what you are identified with which the mind is offering up to you. You see? Okay, so today is open question answers day. So first priority for those who are new to satsang, they can come, and then those who have been here for some time, they can come. You want to ask something?
Ananta.
Yes, yes, you can come, my dear.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I was very, very excited when you were talking just now, and I felt I just had to come and share this, and make use of this internet connection. It seems to be okay for now. So anyway, but I've been experiencing this very strongly lately. A total recognition of myself and a total exploration and sharing of that self in the way that you mentioned. Words just come, things just happen, no control, totally spontaneous. And still, there would come this doubt whether the champagne can be opened. You know, whether it can be this simple, whether it can be shared. No, I'm not ready. No. There's all this kind of doubt still happening. But in spite of that, the amazing thing is, this is what I want to really mention here, is that that also is perfectly okay. And in fact, I found that it's a beautiful sharing when you come to a level with people and you are totally at the mercy of being so-called wrong, not knowing, unstable, whatever, you know. It's all part of the play, you know. So what I've bumped into recently is this joy of just being this, you know, with absolutely no concept, no intention. I think the word is there, no intention whatsoever to be anything other than what is actually being, you know, flowering, you know, so to speak. So it's everything has sort of come to a point of merging where I can honestly say, like never before, to such an extent, the so-called me story, the person, has disappeared. It's like all that's left, and we talked about this before, you know, when I had the meeting with Tony Parsons and stuff, where there was a definite indication that when the self disappears, all that remains is life, is all. That's all there is. There's nothing. There's no one there anymore to make something out of anything, you know. So in actual fact, it's more like, you know, there's an I am, but I am is still a sort of dichotomy. It's still a, you know, a duality. And the feeling now, Ananta, is that there's not much of an I anymore. It's just am. This is very strange. And so I've been feeling very strongly to just share this, you know, just the way it is. And it's wonderful because there's no setup, there's no strategy, absolutely. And it's just, it's this, you know. So, and at the same time, there's a difficulty because it's being put in words, you know, it's being said with a mind, concepts are being related to and everything, but that seems to be part of the, you know, part of the mystery of how self can be translated through the person, even, you know. So that's what I just wanted to share, you know.
Very good. Thank you for sharing, my dear. Very good. Okay, Aparna, next. Wait, we don't hear you. No, it was fine a minute ago, so it should be okay. No, still no. Yeah, we don't hear you. No, you can read your lips saying yes or no, but no. Just try reconnecting, rejoining. Yes. Still don't hear. No. You want to type? She says, so the thing is, there is seen peace and happiness when I think life is going where I want it to. If not, it is all fear, panic, sky is falling, major sky is falling. Yeah, so the thing is, there is peace and happiness when I think life is going where I want it to. This think, no, the think is the trouble. Mm. Mm. When I think life is going where I want it to, if life just went the way I thought it should go, we would never have met in this way. You see? So I'm so happy that, as my master says, God is not so unkind as to make all your plans come true. You see? So when we have ideas about where life should go, how life should turn out, then that makes it a should. It should be like this. We get attached to this. It's like going for a movie and presuming to know that every scene should turn out a certain way, the plot turn should be according to what I want it to turn out to. You see, then it's no fun. Then we say, oh, it's so predictable. So this movie does not dance to the tunes of our mind, thankfully. Let me see what else she said. She says, I also know there is no Aparna. Yes, this is true. Just that a traumatic incident occurred and there is action to reclaim something, knowing that there is nothing to reclaim. Yes, and that action is happening on its own. You see, so non-dualship does not mean passivity. There is a subtle point which many get confused about. Just because there is no Aparna or there is no doer doesn't mean that the action becomes passive. The movement of this body then starts to become passive necessarily. You see that there is no thinker of thought, no individual thinker of thought, and no individual doer of action. And just like the thought is coming up and going, the actions are also coming and going. You see, it is this mind which comes and takes credit or blame, leading to pride or guilt. But they both pride and guilt belong to the non-existent one. You see? So what is happening is just happening. Then you say, yet action is happening. Yes, action will happen. It is a power thing to stand up to a bully. So that fear is there is that bully will crush. Huh? It is a power thing to stand up to a bully. So the standing up to the bully is happening, which is not a bad thing. It sounds very good actually. And so there is fear that bully will crush something. Can you please take Aparna? I am bored of. How about if I take the one that is bored of her? She's saying please. Yes. Very good. Very good. Very good. And we come to this point where this movie is so deeply enjoyed scene by scene, not with a sense of where it should go, you see. Just what's happening now. It's so beautiful. Like right now, we're sitting here, beings from all over the world, different parts of the country also have traveled and they're here. We're in the hangout together like this. It is quite beautifully surreal, you see. Right now, this is happening. But what is the mind saying? Oh, but what about that? You see, what are we going to do after satsang? What am I having for dinner? You see, these kind of things. The mind tries to take us out from this beautiful now. You see, and the best part is that in the now, we also realize that I is the pure witnessing of all of this play which is appearing, which in itself is so beautiful. But this I is so unfathomably pure and innocent and untouched through any of this. What can be better than this? This world being so enjoyable, and to see that what I am remains untouched even in this play. You see. Then you say, I also wanted to say that the reason I'm not there, yes, I was wondering about that actually. I wanted to say that the reason I'm not there is because I still don't know about Josh's admission to Sweden. Okay. That's good. Yes, I did wonder over the weekend what happened, but then I realized something must have come up. So did you come to India at all or no? No, you haven't come much. Could not come. For some reason, Europe it is. Yes. 2 rounds. Doesn't sound so bad. Also, guilt for invoking envy is here in others. Just forget about it. You know what happens is that because our thoughts seem to be losing some power, then something feels that, oh, these emotions have some power or these feelings have some power. So as one of my teachers used to say in the past, uh, these feelings, what are they? They're just like football, just kick them around. What's the big deal? Yeah. And when he used to say like that, I used to wonder, is it really possible like that? You know, when these feelings come so seemingly strongly. It's just like football, just kick them around, play with them. But now I'm feeling like there's something to that, you know. It's just like something is coming, it's okay. The guilt football is there, the pride football. Kick it around, play with it, it's okay. Now Pratik says, why even kick? Yeah, this one, the where I used to go, you could not do Advaita him too much, okay? He said, if you used to say kick it around, that means you have to kick it around, don't do anything else with it. But you're right, it's just, what is just is. The simple allowing of all of these feelings to come and go. Nothing is hurt here. That is the best news. There is no sufferer actually. Hmm? Pratik has been keeping me sane. Pratik, also known as Prani. Is he known as Prani? I didn't know this. How many names does he have? Niranjan, Pratik, Prani, or Being? I have no idea what she's saying. Pratik is also Being, is it in Hindi? I can't hear anything. No, she's still trying to talk. This is just like school. Oh, she calls me by that name, he says. Okay, okay. She's saying it's the worst you can't hear me because I'm saying everything with so much emotion. I can see that. Yes, there is nothing to fear. Please take the fear. Mm. To see that there is nobody who is suffering from this fear is enough, isn't it? Then we are not biased towards certain states. We are not saying this should not come, only this should come. You see, we're not trying to regulate the states in our life. Everything is allowed. Fear wants to come, okay, fear can come. How much space in my being will fear take? Nothing. Not even a grain of sand. Then she says, well, Aparna loves Aparna, you see. Just now she was saying, I'm bored of Aparna. Yes, for a while it can seem to move like that. It feels like nothing should happen to Aparna, then other times it becomes quiet, easy. Yes, a little bit of this back and forth can happen. Yes. Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. And the other Aparna typed something. Aparna says, yes, Father, enjoying this, what you said, what is happening now, without any concern. Even if mind comes, it just drops off. All is supremely amazing. Beautiful, even if it doesn't seem. It's just so mysterious. Loving it totally. Thank you, Father, so much for your love, presence, grace, and pointings. Although I don't know what is next, and it's okay. So, in fact, I am so curious how it'll turn out. My moving back, as everything is stopped right now, still okay with it. It's all your grace, Father. Thank you for your patience and love. Welcome, my dear. Yes. This movie would not be enjoyable if you knew every next scene. You see what is coming up next. If you just knew it, then it would be very boring. Thank you. It's such a funny play. That which seems to be conceived here in the mind here, that gets a lot of belief. We are attached to our own creations in this way, mental creations. And the default setting seems to be belief. That's why many of you report that actually just belief just goes. As soon as the thought comes, belief just goes. What can I do about it? What can I do about it? So this is like that. Because it's conceived and believed so fast it can seem. But as we are coming to satsang, as we are inquiring, as we are surrendering to the master, then not only will you find that there is more time than that, it is not split second mostly, and you will also find that it is not so difficult to just let it go. It's a very primal attachment we have to our conceptions, you see, what we have created. It's funny, you could have a thought right now and you could feel like, wow, this is like the best. And I could be saying, no, but can we look? No. Just in 2 minutes, there can be an attachment to something that just came up, and we could. And if you find most relationship trouble is like this, in our relationships, it's just like this. One partner will have one thought which came, and he or she gets attached to that. The other partner will have one thought that came, and they get attached to that, and they're fighting over this point of view which is nothing. 5 minutes before that, none of this thought was there. You see? It sounds funny, but it's the root of our suffering, because we are attached to our concepts. And language has been designed so beautifully, even this English, concepts, conception, belief, it's all, when you use the word, you see that it's all coming from that. It's conveying what is meant to convey. Our conceptions are our concepts, and we are attached to our concepts. This one wants to debate something because he has some concept about this. Then I'll want to debate back because I have a concept about it. It just, that's how it becomes. That's why I like to say that on the weekend I say that have a concept-free weekend. No trouble really without concepts. It should be like this. No, everything else is fine, but 1 or 2 things we will find and say, no, this one should be like this. But it is not. Therefore, it should not, it doesn't have to be like that. How do we know whether something should or should not be? Just check what is. It's simple like that. Isn't it? But if you have some idea about what should happen and should not happen, then trouble is in trouble. Trouble also ultimately is part of the play. But if there was an acceptance of that, you see, that even suffering is just part of the play. We can say like that, many Advaitins also talk like that, but it's not a living experience, you see, because it cannot be that openness and suffering can coexist at least for any period of time. Therefore, it is just conceptual to say, yes, because I am awareness, therefore even suffering must be allowed, and suffering can come. Oh, I am suffering so much, but actually I am awareness. You see, it is, then it is conceptual. To see that if you are just truly open, how can you suffer? You can be in pain, of course. Events don't have to go in a particular way, of course. But truly, suffering and openness cannot coexist. Yes, take the mic.
So my question was,
Yes.
so the acid test is that there should be absolutely zero suffering under any circumstance as an indicator of our openness.
I don't give you acid tests because I know the checker guy loves to have them, you see. And it'll take on these tests and say, yes, see, you're still suffering. He said that there should be no suffering. It was not meant to test. It is just to check right now. You see, right now is what it is meant for. So you see that as there is openness now, do you find that there is suffering?
Actually, in the moment, there is no suffering.
Yes.
Mysteriously, sometimes there is an appearance of suffering, but like I said, like you said, if we inquire into it or just look at it with openness, there's a drastic
Yes.
reduction in it
Exactly.
and then a
Exactly.
falling away.
Exactly.
So that is what is
Exactly.
observed.
And what you'll find is mostly, again, not to make any report cards about this, what you'll find mostly is that you will not be good at finding new reasons to suffer. You will find that the old ones may still haunt you a little bit because they've been believed in the past. But to pick up new things, you see, as you are in satsang, will become more and more difficult. Old one is getting magnified. It can seem like that because it could be that it is getting magnified, or it could be that our sensitivity is increasing. So it could be that we were surrounded by a lot of muck in the past, but we were not sensitive enough to realize it. But now, even a little bit of personhood, egotism is coming, and we suddenly feel yucky. It might be that the mind is giving us a lot of things to get us trapped again, or it could be that our sensitivity to the person is stronger now, and a little bit of bad smell of the ego makes us recoil. It could be both. Oh, this spiritual is happening. It wasn't Amma moderator today. Krishna is a moderator. She has in maternal. I see. Aparna says it is so much grace that brought me here. Thank you to whatever got me here. Grace. Yeah. Please. Yeah.
Like out the choir, there is no strong identity in the movement. There is no identity. And
Yeah.
also the related question is why is it that while you are vigilant, uh, why is it that thoughts don't come?
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
are ready, they don't come.
Yes. Yes. The first one is how to inquire when there is no identity.
In this moment,
Yeah.
how
So let's ask together, who am I? Then what happens? Let's inquire together. So you say, okay, in this moment, it's so open. I don't find a Vedika or Ananta. So we can still inquire and say, so who am I? Then, Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. What does this listener look like? Who is this listener? What are the attributes of this listener? Yeah. Okay. That's not a bad problem to have at all. So the question causes ecstasy. First world problem. So now in ecstasy also you want to inquire?
I don't know where the words are coming
Yeah.
from, but there's a prompting
Yeah.
that it's not being followed to the
It's not
end.
being
The thread is not being followed to
followed to
the
the
end.
end. Okay. So
But that's also, it's the same listener is mysteriously catching this. The listener who is I
mm,
is unaffected by this thing which says that uh, it's not being
yeah,
followed to the
yeah,
end.
yeah,
He's able to pulse this
yeah.
interruption, so called, whatever.
So is this listener being experienced, or is it just the listening being experienced? Who is the listener of the listening? Well, this is how to inquire. See, and then you can, if you feel that there is a sense of beingness, which is the listener, experiencer of all phenomena, then we can also check on who is aware of even this being. You see? What is the second question?
When you are waiting, when you are vigilant
Yeah.
to inquire, then why is it that
And you're
thoughts don't
vigilant,
come?
why thought doesn't come. Yes. It's like when you're sitting at the door, the thief doesn't enter. Because you're sitting there. No?
The lack of vigilance itself was thought, and
You
so
can say like that. But irrespective of that, thought is what? Just an energetic construct, which is the voice of the mind. Now, as we are saying that we are on the lookout for it, you see, the mind is also, it inherits some intelligence from the supreme intelligence. So it knows that it is going to be found out as just an energy construct which is representing nothing. You see, so it is not going to play with you in that way. It doesn't want to participate in those times. It wants to jump in when you are finding yourself in the midst of an event which has traditionally been pushing some buttons. You see, you find yourself around people who there have been some beliefs about them in the past. So then it's like guerrilla warfare. You see, it's not open fighting. Now that you've come to satsang, you see, now it has become guerrilla warfare. So it will hide and shoot. It will wait for the opportune time.
so when it wins, then who wins actually?
When
But
it wins,
when
wins what?
suppose the mind is able to,
You get your belief.
yeah,
Yeah,
then who is actually winning?
it's a contest in thought. You see, it comes and it, like the Indian Idol participant, it comes and then yeah, everybody gives it a 10, 10, 10 and goes back celebrating, saying yay. Nobody in reality wins. There is no ego entity. It's just a sense of separation, just part of the play. You see, it's just like saying in the game there is this voice which speaks. You see, when I'm playing the game, I believe that voice. Then who wins? Still nobody. But the game is designed to work in that way. Oh. Anil says, Father, I don't feel very excited to join satsang anymore. The excitement to know oneself has died. All the seeking looks like creating more illusion, like deviation from the natural state. But you come, it's good. Don't come for excitement. You see, just come. Tarun says, can I come up next? You can come, my dear. No, you're still showing mute. It still shows you as muted, so you have to
Hello.
unmute. Yes, yes, my dear, we can hear.
Yeah, Father, while going through all the guided meditations and all, I still think that the knowing of knowing is not clear. The knowing of knowing.
Very good, very good. So you say the knowing of knowing. There's an echo coming back, so maybe while I'm speaking, you can mute, and when you are speaking, I'll mute. Yes, very good. So you say that I have been through some of the guided meditations, and this point about the knowing of the knowing or the knowingness of the knowingness itself is not very clear. I'm very happy to look at this, but actually it is simpler than anything that we can think about. You see, so first just know it's very simple. It is not some hard work you have to do. You see, so just have that innocence of a child. And when I say, "Are you aware now?"
Father, that one, that answer doesn't come out. There is some peace, there is some contentment, but I don't know about that. So I'm more comfortable with the knowing of knowing rather than are you aware now?
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. To say that I am uncomfortable with this or more comfortable with this, you must be aware of this, isn't it?
Yes.
You know this.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Right. So very slowly we can zero down on this point. And actually echo is coming a little bit again, so you can mute for a while. So you say, yes, I know this. There is a knowing of this. Now, this knowing, what is this knowing? You see, that is what we are looking at. What do we mean by knowing? Why do we use the word knowing instead of using the word walking, talking, hearing? You see, because it conveys something. This knowing, which is interchangeable with awareness, so don't let your mind be ruling in such a way where it can say, oh, but this is confusing. It's the same thing. This knowing, who knows what this knowing means? You say, I'm more comfortable with the knowing. Therefore, you must know what knowing means. Do you know what knowing means?
Uh, I know everything what is happening. I know.
Hmm.
There is no doubt in that.
Yes. You know. You see, you don't hear, you don't walk, you don't talk. You say, I know what is happening. You see? So therefore, you know the meaning of know. To know something, you know what that means.
The knowing of sensory knowing. The knowing of sensory knowing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But
The knowing of, the of part, if you keep it aside, if I ask you, what do you mean by knowing of? What does it mean, knowing of?
uh, some again, that's a experience of some peace, some currents happening in the body. That's where I'm stuck, I guess.
Yes. No, you're not stuck. The peace is coming, but you're not saying the peace of. You're not saying the joy of. You're saying the knowing of something. You see? So you're using the word knowing. You must know what it means.
Yes, I know how it feels like.
How does knowing feel? This is very good. Don't get disheartened. I know for the mind it's very crazy, but don't get disheartened. This is very good. How does knowing feel?
I guess the more attention goes to the what is happening in the body rather than the experience.
Yes, but this is also known, isn't it? I'm purposely not using the word awareness. I'm saying that even this movement of attention is also known. Is it not? And if some of you are new to Satsang, just to make it clear that when I'm speaking of knowing right now, I'm not talking about the conceptual or mental knowing. The knowing of a concept is not the knowing that we are talking about. This knowing is the primal knowing, which is synonymous with awareness itself. Don't expect to find anything phenomenal. You will not find anything phenomenal. And yet you cannot miss this, which is not phenomenal. It's simpler than this. You say my attention is going there, and I said this is also known, isn't it? Otherwise, why would you say it if it was not known?
The one who knows it is not clear.
Yes, but it's not you. The movement of attention is not known by you.
When you say you, immediately the identity comes in.
Yes, but even that is known by who? Yeah. Okay, let's put it this way. The movement of attention, that attention is going here and there. Is it your direct experience or someone is telling you that this is happening?
Yes, it is direct.
It is direct.
Experience.
Very good. Very good. You see? So, the knowing of this direct experience must be there for you to be able to report it.
Yes.
Yes. And you know that this knowing is there. Don't worry about what this you is or what it looks like. You see? Even to say that there is a knowing of this direct experience is your direct experience. You're not making it up or nobody else is telling you this.
Yes, all this is direct experience.
All this is direct. So there is a knowing of this knowing. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. I'm not saying you know it, because if I say you, you'll again say, oh, this sense of identity is coming up. But there is no
But
identity here.
often there is Mujiji also uses terms like shift of attention,
Uh,
the twist, silence, deep silence.
hmm. Yes.
Shift of attention, I don't see any shift.
Yes, but the fact is that even in your reporting this, it means that you are there to see the movement of attention, isn't it? Now we are trying to find who is this I that can watch even the shift of attention. So for a minute, let's forget about any prerequisites. What must happen, what must not happen. For a minute, we can forget about all that. Right now, the movement of attention is known by you, not mentally, but it is directly experienced. And that it is directly experienced is your direct experience. To the mind, these words are pure gibberish, I know this. But I hope some of you are able to follow along, because we have demystified all these terms, you see. That is why the fundamentals of satsang is very important, where we really demystified all the concepts. So when I'm saying awareness or knowingness, then we are not running to the concept of these things, but just to the experience of these things. You know there is something called attention, isn't it?
Yes.
So you know that there is a knowing of this attention.
Yes, I know there is
Yes.
movement of attention and it goes here and there.
Yes.
Actually, I was seeing one of Rupert's video.
Yes.
So here, there he was also talking about this knowing of knowing.
Yes.
So there, what happened? So the questioner asked that how can we know this? How can what are the qualities of this knowing? He said that I will give a very bad example. That is only peace and contentment. It's not the clear example. That is the only closest he can go. So is that it?
I don't want to say that, although I love Rupert also. There is no dichotomy there, but I wouldn't say that, because this knowingness, you see, this awareness, to put an attribute to this, I would say that as my being comes to a place of unassociation with any conditioning, there is bound to be love, peace, joy, contentment, all these things, you see. But this that knows even the presence and absence of being, even the waking state and the sleep state, you see, this I would not attach any attribute to. You can say like that, no harm in it, but usually I would not say that this which is attributeless, you see, because it's untouched with the appearance of grief or suffering or sorrow, this knowingness remains untouched, you see. And this knowing of knowingness is not new. You see? Okay, it's going to get a little bit subtle here. It is not that knowingness forgot itself. You see? And therefore, when knowingness now remembers itself, some peace and contentment should come. I would not agree to that, because knowingness always knowing itself. There's been no break in that. It is in its dynamic form, which is as being, as consciousness. It has been playing, pretending to be this non-existent presumed person. And when being is coming to the recognition of its own source, you see, then peace and contentment come. But in all of this, knowingness has always known itself. How can knowingness not know itself? Knowingness is knowingness. How do I see these things? You see? So it cannot be that knowing itself has some energetic byproducts. I would more say that being coming to the recognition of its source, which in effect means that being is also made up of knowing itself. You see? But being has the power of belief. Being has the power of pretending to be a person and the power to recognize where it comes from. And it is the unassociation of this being with personal attributes and moving to this universal being, which then leads to these byproducts of love, peace, joy, devotion. Okay, let's look at it this way. Is it possible for you to forget what knowing means? This
No,
knowing,
no.
this direct knowing, it's not possible. So how can knowing forget itself?
Just there is knowing. That is all I
Exactly.
can say.
And there is a knowing of this. You see, there is a knowing that there is knowing, which is knowing itself, and this knowingness never went away anywhere. It has always been this way.
I think the main my trouble is
Hmm.
that this knowing is me.
That this knowing is you.
Yeah, that is not
Yeah.
established.
Okay. So let's look at it the other way. If it is not you, then who is it? How does this knowing connect to you? Because you are able to report on knowing, and you also feel like it's not you. So there must be a way for this knowing to connect to you so that you are reporting on it. Can you find such a mechanism? Can you find a place where you are but this knowing is not? Or the knowing is but you are not? Can you find some separation?
There is a knowing of me.
Yeah.
There is a knowing of me.
What do you mean by me?
This body identity.
What is more intimate for you, this knowing or this body identity? Does this knowing come and go, or does this body identity come and go?
I've never experienced absence of this body though.
What about sleep last night? Did you sleep?
You know, for that the mind comes and says about it is past and all that. We have done it
Let the mind.
previously also.
Let me not talk to your mind. What is your experience? If I ask you what time you woke up, you will be able to give me a time, isn't it? So there was something which shifted and is aware of the shift. Don't be so nice to your mind. No, the mind comes and says, let it say what it wants. You stay with your experience. So this knowingness, at what distance is it from you?
No distance.
No distance. So that which has no distance and has no separation from I must be I, isn't it? We don't have to force this concept. Look for that which could be I besides this. Besides this knowingness, which I could you be? You say that the body identification is there, but you say there is a knowing of this body identification. Therefore, this knowingness must be greater, must be prior. You see, it must be perceived, this body identification. This knowingness is not perceived, you see. It is just known by itself. All of us must be able to ask this question: how do I know of this knowingness? How am I aware of this awareness? The only trouble is that we are used to phenomenal discoveries. We are used to seeing things and saying, Eureka, there it is. Or this is it, you see. This, what we are finding, is not, does not have any phenomenal attributes. There's nothing where the mind can justify it and say, yes, you saw it. It is deeper, more primal than that. It is simpler than that. So we've been looking for the self which is an object, but that itself cannot be, isn't it? Because if the self was an entity, then what would be the subject of that? This simple awareness, this simple knowingness is the substratum. Everything is made up of this. It is not even an experience, you see. It is impossible to forget, impossible to remember, because it is not an object of memory. It cannot be taught, cannot be learned, cannot become less or more, cannot come and go, cannot separate from I, because I is that, I am that. Everything else is coming and going within this. But this awareness, this knowingness does not come and go. See, simpler than simple. Even to say I know nothing needs this knowing, you see. Okay, good. You don't expect any phenomenal byproducts. Okay, Shivani Gala was here. She said, Pa, thank you so much for these weekly satsangs. They are somehow beautiful and subtly potent. Everything is somehow has been automated. It seems to be being the truth recognition is becoming more and more choiceless and formless to the mind. This knowing brought forth handful of distractions at all levels that dance for attention. Few did manage to engage attention for a period, others not so much. So I'm not sure if I have a question, but more felt to bring to your light to stay steady in the unmoving, in this seemingly unsteady place at some moments. Love you, love you, love you. Very beautiful. Thank you, my dear. Love you too. Good. Enough for today. Thank you all so very much for being in satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Mujiji ki Jai.
सदगुरु श्री अनंता जी की जय।
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Very good. Thank you, Krishna, my dear, for moderating today. You can end the broadcast now.